All right, so I'm going to show you how to do a split squat. So this is going to be a single leg knee dominant exercise. So I would recommend starting with little to no weight because these can get spicy pretty fast. You're going to want a nice wide stance here, back foot, ball of your foot, front foot, that heel stays down at all times. You're going to engage your core and start driving that knee forward as far as it'll go. Back knee will lightly touch the floor, and then you're going to drive back up. Notice as I'm going down, I'm kind of going down diagonally, driving back up. So kind of down an escalator, pushing back up that escalator. And then as I'm going down, my torso isn't staying like straight up and down here, because that's going to make the pelvic position uncomfortable, and it's not going to allow you to engage your core properly, as well as use your glute to that full extent. So keep that core engaged, hinge your torso forward, and then drive up. That's going to allow a little bit more flexion through the hip and a little bit more help from your glutes as well as your quads. And with this one, the range of motion can be anywhere from directly up and down in that knee, staying a little bit more over the ankle, to driving nice and far forward over the toes. And that's going to depend on your ankle and hip mobility, as well as if you want to bias the glute or the quad a little bit more. So the more vertical up and down you get, it's a little more glute biased. I usually save that for heavier weights, lower rep ranges. And then I like to really drive that knee as far forward as my ankle and hip will allow for the higher rep programs to really get that full extension through the quad. So just whatever your mobility and your goals dictate, that's which one you can bias a little bit more, but just remember to always switch it up occasionally so you're not always doing the same one. And then in terms of how I want your knee to track, this is very important. So as you're going forward, I want your knee to track over your pinky toe. So ever so slightly engaging out. So we're activating our hip stabilizers to achieve that. I just never want your knee wobbling in like this. And notice how my ankle can kind of go with that. So I don't want my ankle rolling in. I don't want my knee rolling in. So I want to think about distributing the weight to the outer part of my foot, kind of gripping the floor with the arch of my foot, and then driving that knee out ever so slightly. Again, does not need to be like crazy out here. I don't need to roll my foot outwards, but just slightly tracking towards that pinky toe. So just keep an eye on that when you're looking down. And then once you're ready to add weight to this one, if you're doing one dumbbell, put it on the same side as the working leg to help bias that knee driving out. And then if you're using two, just make sure that the same weight on each side.